Aloha and welcome back. We got Crystal Cowan friends here. It's just gonna be Kyle though. I didn't see Crystal in this. Move On leader responds to dim leader smearing her and not fighting MAGA. So let's see if Move On is a political action party or if it's just a Democratic wing.
Welcome, everybody, to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. Today we have a special episode, a bonus episode that I have here for you. We were able to get an exclusive interview with the Move On director, Rahna Epting. Rahna, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, something a little spicy happened the other day, and we want to get your commentary on it here. Hakeem Jeffries took a shot both at Move On and Indivisible. And let me read you a little bit here from this Axios piece, and I'm curious to get your reaction to it. But here's what they say. Scoop. Democrats are pissed at liberal groups, Move On and Indivisible. They go on to explain that in a closed-door meeting for House Democrats this week, there was a gripe fest, that's their term, directed at liberal grassroots organizations. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on Monday complained that activist groups like Move On and Indivisible have facilitated thousands of phone calls to members' offices. They say, quote, people are pissed, a House Democrat who was at the meeting said of lawmakers' reaction to the call. So the thing I find interesting about this is it's people are pissed is the quote, but they're not talking about, hey, the Democrats are pissed at Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the destruction of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and all these other things that they're doing. They're pissed because their own base is making phone calls and holding them accountable. So I guess first, let me just get your reaction to Hakeem Jeffries here.
Well, first of all, I wasn't...
That should tell you something. They're mad that the people are calling them. They're wasting their time. These people should have been calling the Green Party. The Green Party would have taken their notes, would have asked them what they want to ask some of them to run in the Green Party, fill up the Green Party. The Democrats, okay, call them. Thousands and thousands of calls. For what? To make them mad? To make them not do anything? They're not going to do nothing for us. They haven't done nothing for us. They're not going to do nothing for us. It's just a waste of time to call the Democratic Party.
In the room, but what I wouldn't give to be a fly on the wall in that room, because that must have been interesting. Look, Move On members are regular folks. We have millions of members all across this country. We have Move On members in every congressional district, every state. And the role that we play is we give people the tools to make democracy work. So all we did...
To make democracy work, the Democrats don't use democracy. They cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016, and then Barack Obama came in. It wasn't necessarily cheating in 2020, but they worked very hard against Bernie Sanders. And then when Kamala got in this time, there was no vote. There was no democracy there. Why are you going to an undemocratic party if you're trying to bring democracy or work democracy or whatnot? Your goals are more aligned with the Green Party. If you want democracy and you're progressive, you guys need to talk about the Green Party DSA, but let's see what they got going.
Was to encourage our members to call their member of Congress, share with them their frustration with all that Trump was doing, and call on them to say, do whatever you can to unify and oppose this dangerous agenda. So we were just doing democracy. So anyone who might be frustrated or pissed, I think the energy is really misdirected. It really should be going towards Trump, Musk, Republicans that are complicit in all of these potential cuts that they're trying to do to Medicaid, to SNAP benefits, to education. I mean, we've seen the news to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that actually protects people from being frauded by corporations. So really misdirected energy. I don't know what Hakeem actually said in that room. We do work with his office, and they know
the Democrats tend to have misdirected energy. That's why they're the Democrats.
Very well, an important role that Move On plays in making sure that this democracy is, lives up to what we all deserve. And that's kind of the whole focus of what we're doing.
So let me ask you, are your members more fired up now than in the past? Because I seem to remember after 2016 when Trump won, everybody had this feeling that, it's a little bit of a fluke. He lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. And so there was this default sense of, we got to resist. Like the default setting is we got to resist this. This time around, I'm seeing something quite different. There were a lot of Democratic Congresspeople who said, I'm going to join the Doge caucus in Congress. There's been many politicians who are basically looking for areas of agreement and saying interesting things to me. People like John Fetterman falls all over himself to try to give Trump credit every time he can. But I feel like there's a disconnect between the way the politicians are reacting and the feelings of the base. If anything, the sense I get is that the base is even more ready for obstruction and resistance. In fact, I heard somebody say, we're not the resistance this time around, we're the defiance this time around. Are you seeing the same thing where you look at your base and your members and you say, man, these people are really ready to fight, and there's a disconnect with them and the politicians?
There's definitely a disconnect. But first I'll say there is no question that this is not 2016. The conditions that
You saw Hakeem Jeffries, right? He has no fight.
elected Donald Trump back then are a different set of conditions that elected him in this last election. And I think the Trump 1.0 was really about, people were shocked. The country was shocked, and the tens of millions of Americans that did not vote for Donald Trump were shocked that there were people that actually would vote for him. And
That's crazy. In that first election, after they cheated Bernie Sanders, I knew Hillary Clinton wasn't winning. Like, I wish I had a YouTube channel back then. But man, there was no way Hillary was going to win. She had to cheat Bernie, and then just the way she talked, and she's talking about deplorables and stuff. Man, she was the worst candidate I'd ever seen in my life. Like, how were you shocked? If you were shocked, you weren't paying attention.
that's what resulted in that immediate sense of energy that we saw out there. I think in 2024, people were disappointed, depressed, afraid, angry, but not shocked, right? So like that manifests in a different way. But I will say the energy with the base, which Move On is a huge slice of the Democratic base, the energy with the base is...
You should be a huge slice of the Green Party base. There should be no progressives in the Democratic Party. They have proven that they don't want progressives. They basically kicked Bernie Sanders out, Cory Bush, there was another dude, but all the progressives get pushed out, and then the ones like AOC, they turn over, man. Like, they go from protesting with Nancy Pelosi to calling her Mama Bear.
Huge, and it's skyrocketing. I mean, the fact that we drove tens of thousands of calls into Congress and made some lawmakers really mad, it's just...
Those tens of thousands of calls to the Green Party could have done some good, like fill up the membership, we'll start community organizing. Like, did they do anything with those tens of thousands of calls but just make them grumpy? Like, did they set up anything? Is there anything going to be done with these calls? Call the Green Party, we'll set some things up.
That's not a testament to, we were just doing business as usual. That's how many people took us up on our offer.
And that's the problem, doing business as usual. We got to do something different. Business as usual gets us Donald Trump.
To call their member of Congress. That's them, not us. That's a true symptom of the anger and fear out there and the desire that people want to see their lawmakers fighting, opposing, unifying together, being crystal clear about what the stakes are and not giving an inch.
So let me ask you, which Democratic politicians have been most receptive, in your opinion, to the base, where they actually seem to be listening, seem to be adjusting, seem to care about the will of the people and the feelings of the people? Which ones have been the best in your experience?
Okay, well, this is just top of my mind, so like, I'm not making an official list. But I will say we've been really impressed with Senator Chris Murphy, Brian Schatz, Cory Booker.
Brian Schatz is the guy that I'm going to go against in 2026. He's the Hawaii senator.
Booker's done a great job really making plain what Trump and Musk are trying to do. And then on the House side, Maxwell Frost has just been killing it. Greg Kazar from Texas, and you've got Jasmine Crockett, Pat Ryan. I mean, there are plenty of Democrats being the champions we deserve. And the issue is we just need 100% of them on.
So there's like 2%, maybe 5% of Democrats that are kind of progressive. If you need 100% of Democrats to do anything, you're not going to get it. You want 100% of or your party doing the right thing? Go to the Green Party. Build up the Green Party. You will know that 100% of everybody in the party is on the same level, has the same want for universal health care, higher minimum wage, all those things that we talk about as progressives. You'll know your 100% of the party has your back. In the Democratic Party, 95% does not.
On board, right? And we want to see them out there. We want to see them leverage their microphone, taking the conversation to the people, to their constituents, to their districts, going.
They don't want that. They got mad when their constituents called them. Why would they go to their constituents?
Around their districts, talking about what Trump and Musk are trying to do. And it's as opposed to being a little complacent. I'm not hearing much from my constituents, so they may not be upset. They may not really be caring. No, they care. And we shouldn't just be waiting around for our constituents to call us. We should be going to them, and that's what we want to see out of every single elected Democrat in the House and the Senate.
Do you have any idea how many phone calls have been made since the election of Trump? Or can you say ones that maybe you guys have kind of spearheaded?
I can say Move On members have made over 25,000 calls to their elected members or senators. And that's either on the nominations of like RFK Jr. or Pete Hegseth or you name it. How many of these nominees have been frightening? Move On members have called their senators. We've also, Move On members have also called around this potential budget freeze that they've been trying to do when the OMB released that memo, and we saw all the potential cuts that they were going to make that were going to directly impact people's lives. And there have been general.
How many phone calls have been made since the election of Trump? Or can you say ones that maybe you guys have kind of spearheaded?
I can say Move On members have made over 25,000
Did it take it back?
To their elected members or senators. And that's either on the nominations of like RFK Jr. or Pete Hegseth or you name it. How many of these nominees have been frightening? Move On members have called their senators. We've also, Move On members have also called around this potential budget freeze that they've been trying to do when the OMB released that memo, and we saw all the potential cuts that they were going to make that were going to directly impact people's lives. And there have been general calls just saying, in the totality of everything I'm seeing Trump do, please stop this man. This is frightening. We can't allow this to happen. This is not politics as usual. This is not time for bipartisan compromise. You can't compromise with someone who's literally flirting with creating a constitutional crisis, with disregarding the orders of the judicial branch. Like this is not. So anytime we see like someone acting as if this is 20 years ago, I think that is like a huge red flag. Yeah. And as if that was my elected member, I would be calling and going to their office on the regular.
So
20 years ago, it was 2005. I think Bush was in office from 2000 to 2008, right? And Obama 2008. Yeah. So that was during the Iraq War. That was during 9/11. That was during a lot of crazy stuff. We went into like Iraq, Afghanistan. We invaded all these countries. And everything is always, it's so much worse than it ever was. They're lying to you about Trump. Trump is not that much different than a George Bush destroying the world. Trump is just destroying America a little more. They all destroy everything everywhere. It doesn't matter. They're going to destroy America at times, the poor people in America. The rich people are always going to be good. And they're going to destroy the rest of the world at times. It just depends on where the focus is.
Let me ask you about the specific advice, because from my perspective, I look at what's happening here, and I say you can't. When you cross enough red lines, it becomes untenable, and maybe even like normalizing you to then work with you on stuff, right? Like if you make yourself clear that I'm an authoritarian, I don't care about the decisions of the courts. Elon Musk is going around the back, and he's basically ignoring court orders, and he illegally hacked the Treasury and is cutting things left and right.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, I'm not gonna lie, things are very bad, and there's a slew of attacks and a slew of moment after moment where they're just willfully ignoring standard norms and processes and constitutional order. But the silver lining
Standard
is
norms like the crime bill that Joe Biden signed. Like, I mean, they don't care. Either party is going to screw you over, Democrat or Republican. You're going to get screwed over.
that their agenda is massively unpopular and will no doubt result in massive backlash from the broad public, not just in.
Whose agenda is popular? Is the Democratic Party's agenda popular? No. The Republican Party, is their agenda popular? Only with some Republicans, but overall for most of Americans, no. What about the Libertarian Party platform? Is that popular? Not really. Is the Green Party platform popular? With more people than any other of those other parties, I would say the Green Party platform is popular with probably 70 to 80% of people. It's going to be by far the highest.
Democratic districts or blue states, but in red states and red districts as well, because it's their agenda is unpopular with everybody. If you're going to cut Social Security, or if you're going to cut Medicare or Medicaid, that doesn't just touch Democrats and, in liberal cities. That touches people in rural areas, in red states. And so it's really, once people start to feel the impact of what they're doing, lo and behold, I think we will have massive public outrage. The challenge is, until people actually feel it, will they believe the warnings about what they're trying to do and leap into action to stop it before it happens? And that's the job of organizations like Move On and Working Families Party and Indivisible and everybody, to help us to help people organize and prevent the bad stuff from happening before it happens.
Oh my God, it'll be so sad if we just go back to the Democratic Party next election or the election after. If you're a progressive, how in the world can you be backing these people? It's like, it saddens me that they even talk like this. Why would you back the Democrats? They have done nothing for us. They created the crime bill. Joe Biden supported the war in Iraq. Most of them did. They don't. How are they different than the Republicans? It's like this little just back and forth of nothingness. You guys are just nuts.
The advice to say, hey, you guys should vote no on everything, on every cabinet pick? Because from where I'm sitting, if there was a chance Trump would do something good, then I'd say, okay, work with him where you can do something good. But from where I'm sitting, I don't see anything positive. I mean, he signed an executive order on day one to raise drug prices. That's crazy to me. He pardoned 1,500 January 6ers, including ones who committed violence, including ones who were child sex offenders. Like, when I look at what's going on now, I really do think we need to take a page out of John Boehner and Mitch McConnell's playbook from 2009 when they met in a smoke-filled back room and said, we're going to obstruct everything that Barack Obama does. That's where we are now. Is that basically the advice that you're hearing from all of your members who are making these calls?
I think any United States senator that voted for any of these Trump nominees will, if they don't regret it already, they will regret it. Trump and his posse have projected time and time again that they want to run a revenge-seeking administration. They want to, gut vital services that Americans depend on. They're cutting resources to the Veterans Administration. So I think any nominee that they're putting in there is just going to help them do this dirty work that is not going to serve the American people, regardless of what property.
All right, well, I'm kind of going to leave this here. They're not really talking about anything, right? The Democrats aren't going to do nothing. They just want them to try to block MAGA, vote no on whatever. There's nothing to do. There's no action being taken, right? So if you feel like the Democrats are something, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, what are they doing? Why are they even better than the Republicans? They're not. They're no different. But if you really want to, if you're a progressive and you really want stuff to get done, you need to leave the duopoly, the two-party system. It's the Green Party, DSA, PSL. Build a left-wing coalition, or if you're a right-winger, look at the Libertarian Party and go that way. But the two-party system is broken, not good, and you would know this if you got your information from across the spectrum.